Okay, are you still there?
Yep, I am still here.
Alright, let me go turn on my light.
Are you recording in the dark?
So are you recording with your webcam or your camera?
With my webcam right now.
Okay. Ooh, we got some people that's joined. Alright, everybody, if you're listening, let me know if you can hear me and Daniel. We are recording the podcast, but you can only hear me at the moment.
Uh-oh.
Or you
Where's
might,
Daniel?
I mean, only see me, sorry.
Oh, okay, so at least my audio's coming through.
Yeah, it should be. Everybody, Daniel, talk. Ask them if they
I'm
can
talking.
hear you.
Can you hear me, friends?
Do you guys hear two people? Let us know. Alright, so we can hear both of you. Awesome. Alright, so So what you can do, we are going to be covering some quick news from this past week, and then we'll get into some questions. Whenever we're doing our questions, you can ask in the chat, and hopefully you get to be a part of the show when the video uploads. Alright, so let's see here. First piece of news for the news roundup.
Okay.
Alright. Are we ready?
For the news roundup.
We're ready?
First piece of news. Are you ready?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Alright.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I'll do the first and then you can like go to the second after we do the goddesses or the symphony thing. Alright. So here we are with our quick news roundup coming from Nintendo and even some outside of the world of Nintendo. We have, first and foremost, Super Mario cereal. Now,
it's real.
Yes, on Nintendo's official website, some of you may have heard about this. They say Super Mario cereal from Kellogg's makes breakfast a playful experience. With Super Mario cereal, Nintendo and Kellogg's have teamed up to take fans on a breakfast odyssey that will continue long after the cereal box is empty.
A breakfast odyssey.
Yes. In addition to collectible Super Mario Odyssey box art, so they're calling the box of the cereal a collectible. That's interesting.
The work.
Yes.
Just putting the word collectible on it actually makes me want it.
Yeah. In addition to the collectible Super Mario Odyssey box art, each Super Mario cereal box functions as an amiibo accessory, making breakfast a more playful experience and causing tons of little kids to bump their milk onto their Switches.
Oh no.
In quotes, they say this powered up partnership with Kellogg's is another exciting way for us to expand the Nintendo brand in unique and creative ways, said Tom Prada, Nintendo of America's Senior Vice President of Strategic Initiatives. We are always looking for new opportunities to bring smiles to people of all ages, and this is a fun way to kick off the day. The limited edition cereal box will begin hitting store shelves across the US as early as December 11th. Those playing the Super Mario Odyssey game can tap the cereal box on the Nintendo Switch system like you would an amiibo to receive gold coins or a heart in the game. Even the cereal itself has a Super Mario twist with colorful power-up marshmallows and a blast of mixed berry flavor in every box. We are thrilled to pack so much fun into one box of cereal, said Brad Schwann, Senior Director of Morning Foods Marketing. The package adds value and excitement for fans with marshmallow shapes in the cereal inspired by Super Mario power-ups to tie the theme together. For more information, please visit Kellogg's at kellogg's.com. So
this is like Mario Lucky Charms, basically.
Yes, this...
Get the PS4 Pro bundle.
No. Ads. Stop it. Alright. IGN's getting closed out. They had ads playing. I couldn't mute it. Okay.
It was IGN on mine too. The one when I said that the ad was super loud.
Yeah, I couldn't. It just wouldn't even let me mute it. Bad IGN.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the chat we have Kendrick saying, "You mean pack more sugar into every box, or pure sugar into every box?" The cereal has an amiibo. Okay, so the cereal box itself is an amiibo. It has one of the NFC readers or what the NFC tags on the box itself.
Yeah. So there's no amiibo figure in the box. Yeah. It just comes with it.
The box itself acts like an amiibo. It's similar to the amiibo cards you could get with what was it? Animal Crossing. To where it's like just a little card. It'll probably be like taped inside of the box at a specific part of the box, and then you can just cut it out and use the box to tap onto the amiibo.
I wonder which amiibo it will act like. If it'll just be like a Mario amiibo, or if it'll act as its own.
Well, it said it gives you coins and hearts.
Okay. Do you know which one does that? Jesse?
I'm here.
Okay.
Had someone, my little brother came in. But yeah, it was, I'm not sure. I haven't experimented with the different amiibos in Super Mario Odyssey.
I know you can use them at any point, but I've only used them with the little robot guy. The little amiibo robot.
Bad news for you. Go Girl in the chat says, I read that you can't buy it in Canada.
What?
Yes.
No, I have to.
We had so much
$100 online now.
We had so much Canadian pride on the last podcast, and now it's bad.
No pun intended, but that bites.
Yeah.
No, man.
So the interesting thing here is, if people remember, Nintendo used to have cereal with Zelda, Mario, and maybe some others as well. Here, I'll retro Nintendo cereal.
See what comes up.
Yeah. So we have Nintendo brand cereal with Zelda on Link on one side, Mario on the other. They even had some commercials as well with the old retro style looking Mario. So what does it have? It had keys for the Zelda part. It had Ganondorf, hearts, a castle, a shield, keys, and a boomerang. With the Mario, it had mushrooms, Bowser, Goombas, and then I can't really tell what the others are. One's a dinosaur, presumably Yoshi. I don't know. You can't really make out the shapes of the rice puffs. But Nintendo used to do it. It's not like it's anything new. They also had Donkey Kong cereal, so maybe this is just Nintendo like going back into what they used to do. Who knows?
I guess so. I was just poking around on the Kellogg's website that it links to in the art, or on Nintendo's website, to see if I could find it. It doesn't come up actually, and I searched for Mario cereal in their website to see if I could find it, and it didn't come up, oddly enough. But what did come up was Mario Kart 8 fruit snacks.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, I've never seen them. Maybe because they don't give us anything good in Canada, apparently.
Poor Canada.
Oh.
All right. So moving on to the second part of the news. You recently attended. We'll get to that.
Okay.
You recently attended the Symphony of the Goddess. So tell us about your experience there. Because of the YouTube channel, you and I were able to get some free tickets. It sounds you guys can go back, listen to my experience, and I think Luke joined us for that episode too. So if any of you are a fan of Zelda Master, you can go back and watch that video to hear mine and his experience. But just recently, a few days ago, Daniel was able to attend. So tell us about your experience there. How was it getting there to the place?
So I went on the 30th. It was a Thursday night. But it was at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre in Vancouver. So if anyone's local, hey, I was there. If you were there, it's super easy to get to because I am a transit-bound person, and actually the transit system in Vancouver is like really good. We call it the SkyTrain, but it's like a subway sort of thing that extends like all across the whole like Greater Vancouver area. And if you live in any of the major areas of that, like the train is very accessible, very affordable to take, very quick as well. And this probably means nothing to you, Jesse, but you can get from like Surrey to downtown and like, so it's awesome. And yeah, so it's like 2 blocks from the station, from one of the train stations, which is like awesome, super convenient, because I live really close to another station, so very convenient. I was confused about where I should go when I first got there, because I had never been, but I had free tickets, so I went to the will to call and they just had to check my ID, and I was golden. The show itself was amazing. It was brilliant. They just it's like just one of those things. Like, I think you go and experience it for yourself. Like, they worked in a lot of songs that I didn't expect. And there was a couple missing that I was expecting, but they didn't make it in. But like, it was just a phenomenal show, and like the conductor was the most enthusiastic, happy guy I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, and so you had a male conductor. We had I forgot her name, but there was a woman conductor, and they brought out the Wind Waker.
Yes, I was gonna say, like, when he cracks out the Wind Waker, and he used that to conduct the orchestra, like, he was just so happy about it. I don't know. And he like, every time like any song ended, he like turns to the audience with this biggest grin on his face, and he's just like pointing to all the different people that were involved in the song, and he's like, cheer for them, cheer for these guys now. And just, yeah, he was having a great time. I've never seen a happier person in my life, I swear.
Yeah.
After the show, I met up with Jason, the producer. You can watch the interview that I did with him on Jesse's channel right now, or you can wait till this podcast is done if you're watching the live stream, and then go watch it. He was the most chill, friendly guy. He was just very laid back, very awesome. He had these really very intensely blue Nikes. So, and yeah, he was just like super enthusiastic, and he clearly, like, talking about Zelda was a big thing for him, because he was saying, you know, he's been a fan since he was like a 10-year-old kid, and just like I was asking him all these questions about Zelda, and he you could see the nostalgia brewing in his head, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was really a great time. The show was great. Go watch the show. Apparently, after this tour, they're taking a 1-year hiatus.
No.
So they announced that at the end of the show, saying that they were not touring in 2018. So I don't know why. Maybe it's because Breath of the Wild is already out and that hype is down, and it could be that they're.
Well, he may have another tour, like another game that they're planning.
That's possible. My thought at first was like, okay, well, maybe sales like after this year, like, they're not expecting very good sales, but like, then again, like, Zelda fans, they don't take hiatus from being a Zelda fan. You know, like, we're a very intense group, I think, and the venue was filled. It was a filled venue. Like, the only empty seats that I could really see was the one beside me, because we had 3 tickets under my name, and our third person couldn't make it.
Oh, so whenever I went, there was a weird situation with our seats, to where we got there and they were getting everybody in the seats, and there was the woman that was showing everyone where their seats were located, and she pointed us to the balcony seats, and then we got in our seats, and then I had a call from Jason to meet him beside the stage to do our interview. So then we got up, went and talked to him. Everything went completely fine. We got back to our seats. There were people sitting in our seats, and we both had tickets with the same letter and the same numbers on it. So I was like, did they sell our tickets twice? What's going on here? So we went and talked to the person, and apparently we were pointed to the wrong seats, because there were letters and numbers for the seats in the balcony, and there's those same letters and numbers for the seats on the floor. And it turned out we had better seats than we were first told. So
okay, so that worked out for you.
Yeah, it was just a small mistake on the usher, or whatever you want to call the person who guides you to the seats. So I had a very similar experience. They seemed super excited when they used the Wind Waker. Did you buy any merch from there?
I didn't. It was the night before my payday for my.
Oh.
So I was on a shoestring budget, but I wanted to get a Wind Waker actually because it just was like cool.
Yeah.
But I didn't end up getting one. Oh well, it happens. Like I've been to a lot of concerts before where I just I've really wanted to get merch and it's either way marked up, like way more than it should be, like $40 for a t-shirt. I think it's the most I've seen where I'm like, okay, I want a shirt, but like, that's too much. But yeah, no, it didn't work out this time.
All right,
it's fine.
Moving on to
I will survive.
our third piece of news. Xenoblade Chronicle 2's Pro Controller looks to have an improved D-pad. So this comes from Go Nintendo. And they say some people have complained that the D-pad on the Switch Pro Controller is causing some unintentional button presses. Now with the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 version of the Pro Controller available, those same people were wondering if there had been any improvements or changes to the D-pad. Looks like there's some anecdotal evidence pointing to yes. Howie23 over on Reddit has been doing some detective work to look into the D-pads on each controller, and he noticed some differences in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Switch's Pro Controller once he took it apart. First up, the pole that attaches to the D-pad to the controller in the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 version seems to be a bit taller than the original. Second, the rubber membrane for the D-pad has a tube in the center that the pole sits in. In the old controllers, this tube is made of hard, rigid rubber. This new controller has a membrane that is softer and less rigid. According to Howie23, these changes make some noticeable difference in how the controller's D-pad operates, making for more precise inputs. So, if any of you are looking to get a new controller, the Xenoblade Chronicle 2 Pro Controller isn't just cosmetic. Apparently, it is actually a better controller because it fixes issues certain people had with the original D-pad. Now, personally, I haven't had many issues with my Pro Controller at all.
Same. My Pro Controller, I haven't had these accidental button press issues at all. But I still think I might get this one just because I really like the change. Like I really like the colors and the sort of like cross that's on the middle, the green. I don't know, it just looked really cool. But yeah. I have had no problem with my Pro Controller with the D-pad.
Yeah. I will say we need a Breath of the Wild Pro Controller.
Yeah, that would be really cool if it was like in the same style as the Sheikah Slate. If you had like sort of like that dark brown and then it has some of the blue
with the Sheikah Eye logo on it.
Yeah. In place of the Nintendo Switch logo that's on, you have the little Sheikah symbol, and then the buttons have either the orange or blue light. That would be cool, but maybe I'm dreaming too big.
So our next piece of news, why don't you get to it with the EA?
The next news comes from a IGN who has the loudest advertisements on their website. The news article is EA's UFC 3 under fire for loot box controversy. Again, I don't think we can go a week without talking about loot boxes, man.
That's why I put this into the quickfire round of news instead of making a video, because nobody cares. Like I've seen the views, the comments on the videos that talk about loot boxes. Everyone's just tired of it. Nobody really cares.
Yeah, so it's more of the same loot box problems here. Yeah. Like,
and I brought this one up because it's UFC 3 is the game that they're having the loot box controversy with, and for me it's like it's a one-on-one fighting game. How could you put loot boxes in this? Like, what could they possibly like? You can
like a really weird game to put loot boxes in.
Yeah, throw a stronger punch for $5.
I don't know. Like in a game like Destiny, an MMO of some kind, like I guess loot boxes make a lot more sense in that setting. But like a one-on-one, 1v1, it's a UFC game. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Why? I feel like EA is just like they're just really milking it as much as they can.
to make it as quick as possible, just EA stop. Like,
you need to calm down.
Just
with the
stop.
loot boxes.
All right. So, give us our final piece of news.
The Pokemon voice actress. So Pokemon movie finds its female with Big Little Lies actress. So this actress, Catherine Newton, who has been in an HBO show called Big Little Lies, has been casted for the live action movie adaptation of Pokemon.
Yes. Now, do we know if this is like an actual Pokemon movie, or is this the Detective Pikachu live action Pokemon movie?
Is the project? Yes, the project titled Detective Pikachu.
Okay.
You are correct on that. They've just wrapped an intense casting and reading session where they're testing, not like auditions, but just doing test readings. They also have Stranger Things star Natalia Dyer and 13 Reasons Why star Catherine Langford also running for the same role, apparently. Detective Pikachu looks really weird.
Yeah, they announced the game, and then like soon after there were rumors that they were going to be a movie.
I don't understand. Detective Pikachu, just the character of Detective Pikachu confuses me because he's just this little Pikachu and he's so cute, but then his voice is like this like intense, very masculine voice. I don't know. So yes, let's see what else we got in this article. The role nabbed is that of Lucy, a sassy journalist who goes on an adventure with the boy, played by Smith, and the Detective Pikachu will be motion capture created. So it's not like a fully CG, well, mostly CG, but if someone doesn't know what motion capture is, they have an actual actor who straps on a bunch of sensors in a weird bodysuit, and they actually act out the motions, and then they CG over top of those motions to have sort of more realistic movement for their character. The character Lucy has her own Pokemon sidekick, a Psyduck. It's not known if the Psyduck will appear in the movie, though. So, yes.
I think it's pretty obvious that there's going to be a Psyduck and many other Pokemon in this. I can't see a Pokemon movie with just Pikachu. And my question is, they just made this game, Detective Pikachu. Now they're making this movie. Why have they never tried making like just a Pokemon movie?
That's like live action like that?
Yeah, like just Pokemon the movie, where it's an actual movie.
I don't know if I want that, to be honest, because like.
But would you rather have this Detective Pikachu, just where it's like?
No, I don't want that either.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they have this huge franchise of Pokemon games and Pokemon anime, Pokemon movies, Pokemon comics, Pokemon manga. And then they come out with a spin-off Pokemon, Detective Pikachu. That's just this one game that sold well. It didn't sell like nearly as much as normal Pokemon games. But they decide the first movie that they're going to make, the first live-action Pokemon movie they're going to make, is about this spin-off game, which not that many people really care about. Why not make it what people would want? It's like, if you're going to do it anyways, like you just said, you don't want a live action Pokemon movie, but if you're going to do it with like the Pokemon series that people like, not the spin-off game that hardly anyone played. But yeah, that's just my thoughts.
My thoughts are super negative. I don't want any of this. I just like keep it an anime, not even. And actually, we can just quickly include. Did you see there was a that Pokemon movie that was sort of a not a reboot, but like a retelling of the first Pokemon episode?
Pikachu.
And then Pikachu talked in English.
I think it was to get a reaction, just to see how it would fare with the Pokemon movie with Detective Pikachu. So they're
just
like,
to see if talking Pikachu would fly or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't fly
It's
apparently.
just, it's
Like,
just them testing the waters.
yeah, that don't fly. I saw videos of people's reactions in the theaters, and they were like booing and they were mad.
Yeah.
And in fairness, like, it's
Like, that's
literally
not
one.
Meowth.
Yeah, there's literally one line of dialogue. That Pikachu says. He does his normal Pika Pika stuff for the rest of the movie. But it's like, it's really just like out of nowhere, and it doesn't actually make sense.
Yeah.
And it's just like, probably not even something Pikachu would. Pikachu doesn't strike me as the. I'm maybe looking too much into Ash's Pikachu as a character, but like in that first episode, Pikachu doesn't like Ash. They don't get along in that first episode.
Yeah.
And
we've had like 20, 30 years of Pikachu, and he's never talked. So
yeah, he's a classic Chewbacca, you know, like just that talking side character, or not side character, but the talking companion character that only the one character really understands and the audience doesn't. So, like, just let that be, please. I don't know. Like, usually I'm not super opposed to change, but like this was too weird. I don't know. My thought is maybe it's just in Ash's head.
Yeah.
He just got electrocuted or whatever. It's on his head.
Poor Ash. Maybe I don't know. I don't see Detective Pikachu being like, I heard rumors that like The Rock or some other famous actors were going to voice Pikachu, but
if it was The Rock, I would watch that movie. Yeah. I would totally watch that.
It's just odd, but K-Nil in the chat says headcanon for Pikachu talking in Ash's mind because he got zapped. But this brings us to the end of our news. So next up is our mailbag. So
yes, the Curiosity Shop.
Yes. So I'm going to do another intro really quick to introduce the mailbag and everything to let them know.
Good.
So
our live audience
when we separate, yes,
gets a little behind the scenes here. Our start and stopping.
What's up, everybody? I am Jesse, or Game Over Jesse, as some of you all may know me, and here with me is Daniel. Daniel, say hi to the lovely viewers.
Hi to the lovely viewers.
Right, and this is our Zelda mailbag, which we have been calling the Curiosity Shop, where fans and viewers like yourself can submit your questions to be answered, whether they're Zelda related, Nintendo, or just gaming in general. So if you want your question answered, just comment them in the video below. Find us on Discord, or if you would like to have your question held as priority to be guaranteed to be answered on the show, go to patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can have your question featured, or you could even be a part of the podcast and be answering all of the questions and going over all of the news with us. So our first question comes from Black Kid Ewing and Christian Floors, hope I pronounced that, who both commented something that kind of ties together. Ewing says, would you like to see a dual release of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask HD on Switch for the 20th anniversary of Ocarina of Time? So basically, instead of just one game, they can pack them together to justify the probable $50 to $60 price tag. And then Christian says, Game Over Jesse, I think they should do a collection of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask remake. So with this, I've been saying for the longest time, 2018, 20th anniversary of Ocarina of Time, it's the perfect excuse to release Ocarina of Time once again. We've already got the original release on Nintendo 64, the collector's edition that came with Master Quest that you would get if you pre-ordered Wind Waker. You got the Ocarina of Time was included on the GameCube's collector's edition that had Majora's Mask and a demo of Wind Waker. And then you had the Wii Virtual Console, you had the Wii U Virtual Console, you had the 3DS remake.
Lots of ways to get this game.
Yes, it's been released about 5-6 times, but the 20th anniversary would be the perfect excuse. But I don't see them releasing Majora's Mask HD alongside it. I would see them releasing Ocarina of Time HD as like a $40 price tag. I don't think it would be a full $60 game. I think it would be about $40. And then 2 years later we would get 2 years after that, on Majora's Mask's 20th anniversary, we would get Majora's Mask HD. I don't see them putting them together for a $60 price tag. I think it would be one would get $40 and then the second one would get $40. That way they could make a little bit more money. But
I think they could do one better and do another sort of collector's edition. So on the GameCube, there was the Zelda's collector's edition that had Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and the Wind Waker demo.
A little bit more detail about the collector's edition on GameCube. It wasn't just that they like the reason they had the first 2 Zelda games and then Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. It wasn't just let's put Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask on there. It was specifically the very first 2 Zelda games ever made. And then up until that point, the 2 newest Zelda games ever made. So in comparison, if they did it today, it would be like Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword, I guess. Because it was the 2 newest and the 2 oldest. So,
but for this one, if they had a Zelda's Switch Collector's Edition, I would like to see them go way out with this. I'd like to see Zelda 1 and 2, A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time. I would love to see Majora's Mask, but I get it if they would skip it in favor of maybe Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword. And then you have... and then there you've got like a really solid collector's edition for Zelda games that I could totally see people buying. Or if they maybe skipped Zelda 2 in favor of Link to the Past, Ocarina, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, something like that. Like they could mix and match a lot of the main series ones. I think they could go all out with this.
They could do a variety of different collections. Like obviously, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask would be perfect to put together. Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, I think, are perfect to put together.
Yep.
So, and then I think they would skip Zelda 2. I think it would be the original and then A Link to the Past.
That's fair, honestly. Like Zelda 2 is good in its own right, but if a lot of people talk about their favorite Zelda games, as much as I like Zelda 2, I will be forthright and admit it's not my favorite Zelda, and a lot of people don't care for it.
Yeah. So, taking this question a step further from just Ocarina and Majora's Mask. So the original Collector's Edition had 4 games, plus a demo for the upcoming Wind Waker. So let's assume...
cap for this one to 6, and then what would your Collector's Pack look like?
Oh, we can do that. Yeah. So, because we don't have any idea what the next Zelda game is going to be, instead of a demo for the next Zelda game, let's assume it's a demo of like the first 15 minutes of Breath of the Wild, to where you can roam around the Great Plateau. You might be able to get 1 or 2 shrines. So
sort of like the old E3 demos.
Yeah.
Sort of like that.
Yeah. So you get the E3 demo, but you also get 6 other games, and it's a Zelda fans' dream console bundle, to where you buy this collector's edition or special edition Nintendo Switch, and it comes with this cartridge that has these games. What 6 are you going to pick?
Okay, so I would pick Zelda 1, A Link to the Past, Ocarina. I really love Majora's Mask a lot. It's one of my favorites, but I think that would put Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword. And you got your like main, basically your like main series Zelda spins without, and it basically skips like the side story ones. So like Zelda 2, Majora's Mask, they're like that Link's side story, you know?
Yeah.
And you just get like the main, I would say those are the essentials. That's what they could call it, the Zelda Essentials.
Yeah. Like, I think my dream would be A Link to the Past, Ocarina, Majora, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, just because those are the main.
So you skip Zelda 1?
Yeah, but if we were being realistic, I don't think Skyward Sword would be on there unless because I think they could still release Skyward Sword HD on its own to make a bunch of money.
That's a good point.
I think Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, those go together in the same way that Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask goes together. But then I would have, I think Nintendo would do the original Zelda and then A Link to the Past. Those would be my 6. I would like to see Link's Awakening on there, but I don't.
It would be cool if they did a handheld collector's pack too. So you get your Link's Awakening, your Oracles, and then maybe the
A Link Between Worlds would be really good to see.
A Link Between Worlds, maybe the DS titles.
Yeah.
The really underappreciated Spirit tracks.
Nintendo, please. Give us
cool.
this.
Christmas. I would really love that. I would love that a lot.
Christmas is coming up soon, please. Just send us this. So what is the price tag on this?
Okay.
What would you like obviously $60 would be what a normal game would be, but if this launched for like $80, $100, $500, what is the top price you would pay for this?
I don't think I'd maybe $80.
$80?
$80 US.
Okay. Because if it's
right at the 100 limit.
If it's all 6 of these games,
that's a good price for 6.
I would say
6 really good Zelda games.
I would say $120 would be the max price, because that's the price you would pay for 2 new games.
Right.
Like if you put together Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD when they first launched, you're basically paying $120 anyways.
Oh, that begs the question. If we're putting Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on these collector's
Is it the
edition,
HD version?
Is it HD or is it just the original version? So
I would say the HD version, because it's not just a graphical upgrade. Nintendo, whenever they released, said they fixed problems that they wanted to fix in the previous.
Right, like shortening some of the quests.
Yeah, the Triforce chart quest was shortened. The
you got the Ghost Lantern and
finding
HD.
Yeah, finding all of the Tears of Light.
Actually, yeah, that's a welcome change. Those I didn't like shortening the Triforce quest in Wind Waker. Unpopular opinion again. I liked that part of the game where you have free roam of the sea and you're finding the Triforce charts and then finding the pieces. I actually enjoyed that. I felt like that really captured the spirit of the game quite a lot.
Yeah.
Shortened. That was such a pleasant, because that part of the game in Twilight Princess always dragged on for me.
All right, let's move on to the second. Unless, do you have anything else to add in there?
Nope. I think that's good. So HD versions, those are our Dream Collector's packs. Sounds good to me.
All right. So our next question was, I think it was someone trying to. I posted this on Twitter. I don't know if they were just joking or trying to be rude, but Besh J asks, is Zelda playable at 30 frames per second if you're used to PC? I play at 144 hertz on PC, but I can enjoy Mario at 60. So, how do you answer this?
It's enjoyable at 30 frames per second, as long as it's, in my opinion, frame rates in general, in all games. If it's 30 frames per second...
If you hold on 1 second, we are going to add someone with the Chamber of Sages to the call really quick.
Sure.
Alright, so...
Who are we adding? Who is our new guest?
Lexi.
Okay. Hello, Lexi.
We have to wait for her. Are you there?
Hello.
Lexi.
Yeah.
Hello, Lexi.
Hi.
Okay.
How are you?
Really quick, Lexi.
Yeah,
Can you
wait,
record?
Am I muted?
No.
No, I'm not.
Can you record? Can you record your own audio?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Do that right now, like as soon as you can, and then we will continue.
Wait, what?
Record your own audio.
Record your audio.
Yeah.
Oh, alright.
We only have like 10 minutes left of the podcast
Okay,
anyways. So
sweet. I'll just pull up Audacity right now.
yeah, just click.
Sure.
Let us know as soon as you can, and we will get this underway.
Should I just finish answering this question while she gets that set up? Or
Yeah, we can. She can join in on the next question. So.
Sure.
All right, it started. Don't worry.
Cool. All right. So yeah, my short answer is yes. It is definitely enjoyable at 30 frames per second. Honestly, as far as frame rate goes, as long as it's steady, I'm good. Like if it goes below 30 and it starts to like dip up and down like a roller coaster, that's an issue. But if it's a steady frame rate, then we're good. Like it doesn't have to be 30, it doesn't have to be 60. I just want it to be steady of one of those.
My answer to this, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on the Nintendo 64 both run at 20 frames per second.
Yeah.
And those
Very
games are very much playable. So I don't know if this was like a PC Master Race troll posting,
maybe,
or if they're being, because it says I play at 144 hertz, and like no console game runs above 60 hertz. So
this is like a style over substance thing, and I take substance every time.
Yeah.
So
moving on to the next question. Lexi can join in on this, or I'm sorry, Alexa.
Alexa. Hi.
Yes.
Hello.
Okay, so ElfSong7133 from YouTube asks, here's my question. Do you think they will make another game in the art style of Breath of the Wild, or do something else? What art style do you prefer? So obviously, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, to me, look kind of like a manga that you would see, especially the 3D versions of the games. Obviously, Wind Waker looks like a cartoon. Twilight Princess tried looking realistic for its time. Skyward Sword looked like a painting. Breath of the Wild looks like an anime. So every major Zelda game looks like it can stand out. It doesn't look similar to another Zelda game. So they've all had their own unique art style. What art style would you like to see the next Zelda game in? Starting with you, Lexi.
Oh, me? Oh, dear.
No pressure, though.
It's alright, don't worry. Basically, I really do enjoy all the art styles that they've shown in the past, and they seem to be, like, similar but also different at the same time, which I enjoy, so there's consistency. I love Breath of the Wild's art style more so than anything, because it could be used over and over again, and it won't really lose its quality. And I kind of noticed that with Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask as well. It's kind of an art style where it will age with the game and age well. With certain games where, like, oh, you play in a more realistic kind of art style, it can age probably in an ugly way, and that might not be enjoyable if you're trying to go back to it. So in future titles, I definitely hope for it to be more so in the cartoonish style, so it will, when you come back to it, it will look very as much attractive as it used to look like back when you were playing it originally.
I 100% agree. Yeah. That is exactly where I stand.
Yeah, Wind Waker.
And the Wind Waker, yeah, I was going to say Wind Waker just like looks so much better. It has aged so much better than Twilight Princess, even though I really love Twilight Princess.
Yeah, it looked amazing compared to any other game at the time. Like Xbox 360 games were out. Was it placed? Yeah, I don't know. But around that time, 2006 was when Twilight Princess first released. I believe that was the year the PlayStation 3 first launched.
Yeah,
so
that sounds right.
There were HD games out at the time, like the next gen games. But Twilight Princess at the time still looked just as good as any other game that year. So I think that's a lot to say about Nintendo's work with Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
But going back to look at it, yes, it doesn't look nearly as great. Wind Waker looks phenomenal.
Breath of the Wild for me, I love how it looks. I think it just really hits that balance, art style wise, and it's breathtaking. No pun intended.
I agree.
And so if they want to do more games in that style, sure, I would love it. The only thing is I would say give me more tall grass. I love the tall grass. It just looks so good.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it does lag the game a bit, but
yeah. I love the Breath of the Wild art style, but if I could choose my own art style, I would go with the way that Final Fantasy 15 looks, towards like a fantasy, almost like a really detailed anime is what it looks like. I would love to see a Zelda game in that style, which we've seen something kind of close with the Zelda Wii U tech demo, but that's running off the power of the Wii U, where like the Switch or a future Nintendo console would obviously be able to do a lot more than the Wii U tech demo. But
I found that tech demo, in my opinion, it looks kind of just like the Twilight Princess art style, but with maybe Breath of the Wild's lighting engine. I think that was pretty much that balance. And I think it looked really good as well, that tech demo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that lighting engine is really great. And yeah, I think if I just had to choose one art style going forward, it's a tough call between Breath of the Wilds and how Wind Waker HD looked. Specifically the HD version, because the lighting makes this huge
Wind Waker
huge
HD
impact.
looked amazing.
It's so good looking, and I don't think that game is going to age in a negative way. Like, it's going to just always look that good.
Yeah. So our next two questions kind of go together.
Oh, great.
Ash Mooing Monkey 3 says, I have a question. Do you like Sonic games? And then they put first, because I guess they were the first to comment on the video. But to go along with that, Cludex says, why do people think Sonic 06 was bad? It was the best game in the series, to be honest. The story and the gameplay touched me. There may be glitches, but that's what makes it fun. So, best Sonic game, Sonic 06. And do we like Sonic games? So,
okay. I really like 2D Sonic games. I really like games like... I haven't played Sonic Mania, but I really want to get it. 3D Sonic games like Sonic Adventure was really fun, but after Sonic Heroes, I stopped playing. I stopped playing 3D Sonic games entirely, and so I cannot comment whether or not Sonic 06 is good, because I didn't get it based on how poorly it was getting reviewed, and I just never played it.
At the time, I really liked Sonic Adventures. I used to play a lot of Sonic. I really liked it, but apparently I was a lot better when I was a kid than I am now, because even playing Sonic Mania, I suck. Where as a kid, I remember like getting to like the end of each level kind of quickly, to where now it's like I struggle to get to the end of the levels. So that's my story with Sonic, is that I suck too much to enjoy the games. I remember I used to have a lot of fun. I used to have a lot of fun with Sonic games, but I'm just like a decade out of practice. But I do enjoy the 3D Sonic games, like Sonic Adventures. I didn't play Rise of Lyric or any of the Wii U games, but the Dreamcast 3D Sonic games were really fun for me. And yeah, I think it kind of correlates with Skyward Sword, to where a lot of people complain that they didn't like Skyward Sword because of the controls, but if you get past the controls, it's a really fun game. And the same thing is with the 2D Sonic games with me now. If I could get past the difficulty that I'm having, I think they would be really fun. So I like Sonic games. I never really played Sonic 06, but I have heard all of the stories. So yeah, what about you, Alexa?
Gosh. I'm actually quite opinionated on this.
Let's stir the pot. We've made people angry before.
Yeah.
Oh god. That's my last intention, but in my point of view, I am very much for 2D Sonic games, but once they started approaching a 3D kind of platform, it kind of went south.
Yeah,
the camera angles were deplorable.
I don't think Sonic Speed translated as well into 3D as, say, Mario's approach did.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give it the benefit of the doubt, because I haven't played 06 myself. I played other titles like Unleashed and Colors. I actually enjoyed Colors, with like, regardless of what the majority says, because a lot of people actually liked it. Just from my own personal experience, without learning what that bias was, I just kind of enjoyed it because I didn't get the concept that well. But usually, before I started like getting heavily into games, I would just like play it for because I thought it was like fun. But nowadays, like, I play it because I think, oh, this is practical. Oh, the camera angles are helpful. And once I started seeing how much a difference my opinion was in games, it definitely hit something to me. I did not like Sonic games after I started getting heavily into, like, looking into games and ratings and stuff. I love 2D. Good. 3D, eh.
So we're kind
Ratings
of
are
in
not
the
that
same
great,
boat.
and yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, well, moving on. Our final two questions. The first comes from Ali Bakar, which really isn't a question, but they say, you are, actually, a very nice man. I don't know who that was directed to. It could have been Daniel.
You.
It could have been me.
It was you, Jesse.
It could have been Andy.
It could have been Alexa.
It could have been Andy from McIntyre Productions, or it could have been Andy from Zelda Informer. So all four of us were on that episode.
Yeah.
So
Andy and Andy.
Allie, if you're watching, let us know who the very nice man is.
Please.
I
bet
It could be Alexa, because Alexa is a very nice man.
And
sure. It wasn't me because I made everyone angry talking about speedruns.
oh yeah, we apparently mentioned that we didn't like glitched speedruns where you're not necessarily beating the game, you're skipping the game.
Oh, I agree on that.
Yeah.
Actually.
So
You have to play the game to its fullest.
there were so many people that was triggered by that statement. They're probably all happy listening, like, oh, this is.
I understand that glitchless speedruns exist and there is an audience for it. It's totally not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by it. Like, just like, I get it, it's there, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
I have nothing against like those people who enjoy that kind of topic. It's just like, oh, it's just not something I would do.
Yeah.
That's just the simple argument that I have with that. But yeah. I'm gonna get yelled at for giggling too much again.
No, giggling's fine.
Our final question goes into a bit of a theory territory, coming from Eric Garrison. And by the way, I forgot to introduce her. Everybody, you are hearing a new voice. That is Lexi or Alexa from some of the past videos, as a lot of you may have called her. See, Daniel, we brought her on a video. Well, a few videos in the past, and she mentioned that she was Lexi, not Alexa, and everyone in the comments purposefully called her Alexa. There was like 50,000 views, I forgot however many views, and everyone was just like, Alexa, Alexa. So
I'm still stuck on the Discord.
yeah, but Lexi helps out and runs the Chamber of Sages Discord and YouTube channel.
We're on a rocky start because after our hiatus and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to fix everything.
But
that's good.
Our final question comes from Eric Garrison, who says, and there are some typos in this sentence, so I apologize. It says, there a detail that alludes. Okay, I think he meant to say there is a detail. He says, there is a detail that eludes the theory realm of Breath of the Wild. Spoiler, Zelda mentioned she can't hear the voice anymore because her power weakened over 100 years. What if Ganon isn't completely sealed away? Certain dialogue Nintendo used in both American and Japanese versions suggest they could surprise us all. But if I took a second to look back, the fight with Master Koga was a disappointment, and really the final boss fight with Dark Beast Ganon in a lot of ways, and like you discussed in the video, a one-on fight with the protagonist on some level would have been, in my opinion, much more satisfying. I really hope they take this opportunity to give us that in some form with either one Koga or Ganon. Either way, just my thoughts. I like the video. Please keep them coming later. So basically what they're saying is they agree with us that the fight with the leader of the Yuga clan, Master Koga, and the final fight with Calamity Ganon weren't that great, because you play through this huge game that's really amazing, it builds up, and then you're at the very tip of the mountain. Everything's coming to an end. There's supposed to be this huge climax, an epic battle, and then you just ride around on a horse and shoot light arrows. Yes. Yeah. And then the fight with Master Koga. And in that we talked about it would be interesting, or the video that he was referring to, we talked about what if Master Koga was like Zant in Twilight Princess, to where you go the whole game thinking he's in charge when really he's acting as a puppet to Ganondorf. So what if Master Koga is acting as a puppet to a much higher person?
Well, he sort of already is. The Yiga clan has sworn allegiance to Ganon. So although Master Koga is in charge of the Yiga clan, he is still kind of a patsy like Zant was already.
Yeah.
They are already.
But what if there's another in between?
Sure. I'd like that, because, like I said, the Master Koga turned into be kind of a goof, kind of a disappointing fight, and he ends up killing himself pretty much. And I would have really liked a more threatening. Like, this is a clan of assassin ninja guys, right? Like, I would have loved to see a boss that's far more threatening, like we discussed in the last episode.
Or even if it was Master Koga, if he came back and like there was some scenario where he was like, and this isn't even my final form, to where he transforms. He becomes.
We're going full Dragon Ball here.
Yes, he becomes Frieza in this situation.
Oh no.
No, like we've seen in A Link Between Worlds, Ganondorf. Ganondorf is not in A Link Between Worlds, but what's his name?
Yuga.
Yuga becomes a form of Ganon. What if Master Koga comes back and is able to transform into like his version of Ganon, or even if it's just another person entirely? Like, what if it's the human form of Ganon or something? I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of anything that could redeem Master Koga and the Yiga clan.
I don't know. I think they just need to replace him with a new character. Like, that's not, because like if Zant turned out to be a goof as well in Twilight Princess. If nobody's beaten this 10-year-old game yet, if they were just like, okay, suddenly now he's super badass all of a sudden, it's like, well, wait, what? But he was cool and then he wasn't cool and now he is again. I don't get it. So I think they just need to, if they were gonna do like another Yiga-centric villain, they need to just do away with Master Koga, have a new villain.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
As long as it's not a different version of Calamity Ganon.
Yes,
like
please,
Wind Blight,
new.
Fire Blight, Water Blight. As long as it's not one of those, I'll be happy. Yes. So you've been kind of quiet on this question, Lexi. What are your thoughts? What do you want for a final boss for the upcoming DLC?
Ooh, I really don't have exactly an opinion on this, to be honest. Quite honestly, whatever they give me, I'll be satisfied with it, because I felt the game was pretty empty, because, open world, that imbalance. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful game regardless, beautiful open worlds, but I felt there was a lot of holes that needed to be filled. With DLC Pack 2, I hope for that, but I'm going to be realistic. There's probably going to be a boss that might be underwhelming, just the same as the Yiga clan Master Koga, and as well as Calamity Ganon and Dark Beast Ganon. I'm just probably going to be expecting the expected with that. That's basically where I stand.
Maybe time for another.
Wait! Update.
Okay. Oh.
Important update. I think this may be directed towards you, Daniel. Or you could check your Twitter to see if you got the same message.
Okay, let me just pull up my old The old tweet.
So earlier we were talking about the Symphony of the Goddess.
Yes.
Ben, the composer for the Symphony of the Goddess that you've seen a few days ago. Nope, maybe. Could be the same person, I don't know. But I had a female composer like I was talking about. You had a male composer. So Ben Emberly says, "Hi there, Jesse." Hold on. I'm going to read over this to make sure there's nothing.
Is this a message or is it a tweet that you're looking at?
This is a message. It'll be fine. I can read it. There's nothing important in here that's like private.
Okay.
It says, "My name's Ben, and I'm from the UK. I came across your Twitter page while looking to connect with people who share my passion for video game soundtracks. I'm a composer/arranger with the Legend of Zelda Symphony of the Goddess concert, which I currently touring worldwide." So it is the person you've seen. "I co-authored the new Skyward Sword piece. Anyways, it's nice to connect on Twitter and would be nice to make your acquaintance and build a connection here. I'm currently working on a number of pieces based on the Legend of Zelda soundtracks and would be interested in bringing them to your attention. If there's a chance to collaborate with any of our ventures, I'd really welcome a chance to do that. Hope to hear from you soon, Ben." So you know what this means,
wow.
Daniel.
If only we had a sort of a venture or something where we bring on guests or collaborators to record with us. But I can't think of what that might be.
Yeah. So apparently Zelda Symphony was nice enough to give us some free tickets to the Symphony of the Goddesses.
Was that
Six tickets, yes. They basically gave us like anywhere between $300 and $600 worth of tickets.
Yeah. Very nice of them, honestly.
You lucky ducks.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I had a female composer when I went a couple of weeks ago.
Conductor?
Yes, sorry. And you had apparently this Ben guy. So maybe next week or the week after we can get them on and
That would be
have
amazing.
a follow-up. So this Zelda Symphony thing not only turned into great podcast discussions, great interviews, great anything else, but we're also going to apparently have the conductor on. So that's really nice. But anyways, sorry for interrupting you, Lexi.
Oh no, I was like done talking.
Okay. So with that out of the way, I guess that brings us to the very end. But I do have one final thing that I would like to talk to you guys about.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know how much time you all have left, but the Video Game Awards is in 3 days. 3 days, I think.
Oh man, that.
Oh yeah.
3 or 4 days.
It's on the 7th.
7th. Okay,
Whatever day
4
the
days.
7th is.
4 days away, the Game Awards. If any of you still have time left, would you like to quickly go over the Game Award, the people, the games that are going to be up for nomination, and do a quick prediction on who we think is going to win each category? We don't have to spend time discussing a lot of details, just go over it and give our quick predictions.
Ooh, should I pull up GameAwards.com?
That's
You
what
can.
I'm doing right now.
Oh,
Oh,
so
boy.
you both are in?
All right.
Yeah,
do
I've
this.
been in deep actually. I had a meeting about this earlier, so
Oh.
I'm ready.
You had a meeting about the Game Awards?
Yeah, with the people I work with, we were talking about what we could do for the channel come Game Awards. Like we're gonna be on a group chat during it.
Oh
Alright.
man.
Yeah. Let's see.
All right.
So if we
Let's go to the awards.
Yeah. So if you go to GameAwards.com, you go to awards and then go to the very bottom, since the important stuff is at the top.
Okay, so we'll just work our way up from the
Yeah.
bottom.
Go to the very bottom and we work our way up to the top.
Let's skip the first one. It's best Chinese game, and I don't know what any of these are. Oh,
Well,
no,
the
I know
thing
what
is,
Atari
in China, like for the longest time, they weren't allowed to have actual consoles there,
Yeah.
so they had to do their own workarounds. So that's why they have their own thing. But we can start with this. We can go ahead and do an intro with it, since it will be its own video. So
Oh, sweet.
yeah.
Best indie game.
I'm gonna be doing some voice acting here. Just kidding.
All right.
What's up, everybody?
All right.
What's up, everybody? I am Jesse, or Game Over Jesse, as some of you all may know me, and here with me is Lexi from the Chamber of Sages, and Daniel, who you all may know from our podcast, the Highlands Gamescast, and who has also helped on videos with the Chamber of Sages, videos on Zelda Informer, videos on Nintendo Prime, videos anywhere you can find a Zelda video. He's probably had something to do with it.
I know a few people.
Yeah. So the Game Awards are coming up very soon, and we are here to predict who we think are going to win each of the categories. So, Lexi, for those who may not know who you are, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself briefly?
Hi, I'm Lexi. I'm
Hi,
from the Chamber of Sages, and you can follow me on Twitter at ChamberLexi, or you can follow the Chamber of Sages main Twitter. I'm usually there, memeing. That's what I do. But yeah, if you are already subscribed to the Chamber of Sages, be in for some treats in the future, because there's some pretty cool stuff that's going on. But yeah.
Alright, and everyone is still recording, right?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm still
sir.
recording.
Alright, now go ahead and introduce yourself, Daniel.
Okay, well, I'm Daniel. At Twitter at CaptBurgerson. You probably know me on Discord if you're on our Game Over Jesse Discord server, where I am King Burgerson. I was an elected official, not elected king. I also have worked on, as Jesse said, I used to work for Zelda Informer, and then I jumped to Nintendo Prime, and I have also done some work on Chamber of Sages and mostly Game Over Jesse's channel. And yeah, that's me. I also have my own YouTube channel called at nshgfilms.com. Actually, I should have a video up on there this week. A new video coming up. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's me in a nutshell.
Alright, so now for our predictions. Starting off with the best debut indie game. Apparently it's presented by Chic Hydro. So recognizing a new independent studio that released its first game in 2017. Winner selected by fan voting. So we have 5 contestants here. We have Slime Rancher by Manami Park. Is that how you pronounce that? I don't know.
Monami Park.
Yeah.
Sure.
Second game, Mr. Shifty by Team Shifty. Hollow Knight by Team Cherry. Golf Story by Sidebar Games. And Cuphead by Studio MDHR. I'm going to go ahead and say Cuphead is going to win this.
Cuphead would be my vote too. I've heard Golf Story is really good.
Yeah, Golf Story.
But Cuphead has definitely made a really big splash, and it's, you know what, it's got something that a lot of games, that maybe not enough games have, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
have a lot
good.
from Slime Rancher too, which is interesting.
The other, those three, the top 3, I haven't even heard of until just now. So
Well, I've heard
I'm
of
bad.
the only one I've not heard of is Slime Rancher.
Oh, really?
I actually watched Game Grumps play it before.
Although
And it actually seems pretty cool.
Slime Rancher does look, from the art, look very similar to the game Daniel and I were sent a while back.
Oh, are you talking about Putty Pals?
Yeah.
Aw,
Yeah,
that sounds
I didn't.
cute.
It is cute, but I actually, and I'm really sorry, I didn't really care for it. I didn't care for it very much.
Aw,
It wasn't bad, but like.
Well, not everything can
It was
be
like,
Breath of the
It
Wild.
was like in the same week as Mario Odyssey.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
yeah.
so-
Can't compare that well then.
Yeah. Like, it's one of the games, it's a platformer built from the ground up to be played multiplayer, but you can play it single player, but it's not very good single player.
I actually had a better time doing single player because the control scheme I found really interesting. And in that, the single player, you had your 2 characters. So multiplayer, one person controls one player, and the other player controls the other character. In single player, your left thumbstick controls one character, and your right trigger, your left thumbstick and left trigger, and your right thumbstick and right trigger control the 2 characters. So you had basically it was each hand was one character, and it got really challenging and really interesting. But a 2-player, I don't know. I didn't. It was too boring on 2 players. It was very easy.
All right. So our next best esports team: Team Liquid, SK Telecom, Lunatic High, Cloud9, FaZe Clan. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't pay attention or care at all about esports. So
Womp womp.
you can go ahead and kill
You're
me.
gonna make some people mad. But you know what?
You can go ahead and
Same
kill
here.
me.
Same here. Oh no.
The commenters can kill me. I don't really care. And this is also why we're skipping the next one as well. Because I don't know any of these people. Dota 2, Overwatch players, I don't.
Okay. Lexi, any votes for sports team or esports player?
Oh god, I should not say anything.
Alright, let's just move right on to esports game.
Now,
it gets heated when it comes to people talking about that, believe me.
I will say I do enjoy watching certain esports tournaments. Like if it's a Smash Brothers or
Oh, I agree with that.
Like Halo.
I play Rainbow Six, and that looks pretty good.
Yeah, certain games are fun to watch, but I'm not into it enough to say who my favorite team is, so that's why we're skipping that. But the best esports game, Rocket League, which is another great game to watch people play because they can do things that I never imagined.
Value in that as well.
Yeah.
So much.
So we have Rocket League by Psyonix, League of Legends by Riot, Dota 2 by Valve, Counter-Strike Global Offensive by Valve, and Overwatch by Blizzard. I would say, who do I think's going to win? It seems like more people have been playing Overwatch recently than any of these other games. League of Legends, I would have said League of Legends last year, but right now I would say Overwatch. But Rocket League is really, really fun too. So
I'm exactly what you said. But Overwatch was probably gonna win. But I really love Rocket League. Okay, trending gamer Jesse, why aren't you on here?
Fun story. The first year they had the Trending Gamer Award, they had Greg Miller as the person who won it. Not long before he won the award, I had him on a couple of my videos on my YouTube channel. So, and what links to this year's contestants, if we see Andrea Renee here with What's Good Games, she's also a co-host with Kinda Funny, which Greg Miller is. So, I have like that teeny connection to...
degrees of separation sort of thing?
Yeah. She used to, like, anytime you would walk into GameStop, you would see her host a video on the TV commercials stuff that they have. So these other people, Steven Spawn from Able Gamers, Mike from Shroud, Guy Beam from Dr. Disrespect, Clint Alexa from Half Coordinated, and then Andrea Renee from What's Good Games. I would say Andrea Renee, because she's the only one that I really know. But what about you guys? Do any of you watch these? This is just where popular YouTube and Twitch players...
I'll be fair, never watched any of them, so I have no say.
I don't know any of these guys. And I follow a lot of gaming channels and stuff, but I don't know any of these guys, and I feel like, oh god, am I out of the loop? Or am I, am I an old man? Am I old because I still watch Completionist? Am I... what's going on?
So, our next is Best Student Game. Awarded the Best Student Project created at high school or college level. We have Meaning, Level Squared, Impulsion, Falling Sky, Hollowed, or From Light. Now, I've never played any of these games. The only one that I've heard of is Hollowed. So, I'm going to go with Hollowed on this one.
Sure.
I have heard of Hollowed, and I heard great reviews on it. But I wouldn't put my vote just because I heard of it. That's just me, because I want to play all these games because I have a problem. But, yeah, I'm just...
It's interesting that they have this category, though, because...
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you're in... Like, a lot of video game design classes have you make your own games. So it's cool that they're giving a spotlight to some of those games.
It is really cool. And, like, at first I thought, why is this not coupled with an indie game category, which is the next one? But it makes sense that they would give their student games their own category, because, like, with an indie game, it is an indie it's independent, but they still have a studio.
Yeah.
They still have more resources than a student game is probably at most like 5 people.
Yeah.
Like maybe you like 1 to 5 people like working on this game. So I don't know any of these, but based just on the pictures, because that's all I have to go on, I'm gonna say Hollowed as well because the art style looks really cool.
All right. Best independent game is next. For outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher's system. Now with this, I would say Cuphead, but I've heard everyone loving Hellblade.
Oh, really?
So,
yeah, I heard that.
Like, whenever you start the game, it has a thing about, like, mental health awareness and stuff, because I believe this is the game where, like, the main character, like, it's not just you seeing monsters or creatures and everything, like, there's something wrong with her mentally. So, like, that plays into the game as well.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
But my vote still goes to Cuphead.
All right. All right. And what about you, Lexi?
Oh, I'm likewise with Cuphead. I played it. It's a very good. I think by far is just taking a step back and a step forward by bringing an art style present again.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. And I think I put my vote in for the art one too as well with that.
All right. The next... Sorry, what?
This is a tough one. This next... Sorry,
Oh, yeah, the most anticipated game presented by McCafe, awarded to an upcoming game that has shown significant ambition and promise. Title must be announced and scheduled for release after December 7th, 2017. We have Last of Us Part 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, Monster Hunter World, Marvel's Spider-Man, and God of War. Now,
this is
I would say Last of Us Part 2 because I really loved the first one. But I am excited to see if they do anything at all different with the Spider-Man game than they have the recent Spider-Man games. And then third, with God of War. I liked the old God of War games. Didn't love them because Kratos always seemed like the one emotion person. Like he just wants to rip everyone's head off and that's him. Like there's no other emotional side to him. It's just, I want to kill this thing in the most brutal way that I can. And I can't really like paint myself in that picture. But with this new God of War, there's like some back and forth with the his son.
Mm-hmm.
So
your vote goes to God of War?
I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna say Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
I'm gonna say Last of Us Part 2.
Last of Us Part 2. Like this is a hard category. These are some big titles that have a lot of hype around them. But yeah, Red Dead was a huge deal, and when they announced that trailer, like the internet exploded a bit. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm freaking out for Red Dead Redemption. My God.
The first game was really good, so it'll be really hard to follow that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe in you, Rockstar. So.
I have high hopes for this game. I'm usually really pessimistic and realistic about this, but the way they made Red Dead Redemption the original, I'm sorry, that was hands down a great experience.
It was.
So, Red Dead Redemption 2, high hopes, crossing my fingers, voted.
Alright.
That's it.
Next category. Best multiplayer for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre.
Oh man.
So the interesting thing here, we have Splatoon 2, which if you remember, won Best Shooter the year it came out. Splatoon 1 beat Call of Duty, Battlefield, everything else for the best shooter. So I think that's interesting. But I'm going to say best multiplayer. I don't love it, but I'm going to say PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds because it is taking over the internet. It's quickly become like one of the most popular games in the world. Like it's like the #1 game on Steam. And it's not even finished. It's not even finished. It's in like...
It's still in beta form. That's why I'm on edge about it.
Why does it count if it's not even finished?
Because it's still making more money than games that are finished and has more players.
I suppose that's true.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. I was gonna say Destiny 2.
I would say Destiny 2.
I would love it if it was Splatoon, because I really love Splatoon.
Yeah. I would say... See, it can't be Splatoon 2 because this is the best multiplayer game. Like, Splatoon 2's multiplayer for being online. Its online communication to chat with people sucks because you have to use your phone. True. So I think that's going to play against it.
Yeah, and especially because the word that stands out in the category description is experience. And because of that, sort of online, the online systems for Splatoon are so far behind. Same with Mario Kart, I would say. That is going to set it back, despite how much I personally love the game.
Yeah.
So, my vote says Destiny.
Alright, I would pick Destiny 2, but I would say PlayerUnknown's going to win.
Yeah.
But my vote is for Destiny. What about you, Lexi?
Huh? Oh.
What's it gonna be, Lexi? What's your pick?
Oh, God. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because I have a mental problem with that game where I'm addicted and I have no choice.
Okay.
So that's your vote, but what do you think? What do you believe is going to win? What's your prediction?
Well, because of the extreme opinions upon PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, I'm gonna say that's gonna win. Even though I'm extremely against it because it's still in a beta form, barely even finished. But, you know, who am I to say? People are enjoying it. Let them enjoy it. It's definitely worth it if it's, like, on the Game Awards.
Alright.
For a nominee, so.
Next category. Best sports/racing game. For the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game. Project Cars 2. Yeah.
Where's Mario Kart?
Project Cars 2, Pro Evolution Soccer, NBA 2K18, GT Sport, Forza Motorsport, and FIFA 18. So the thing is, there are 3 racing games, 2 soccer games, and 1 basketball game. I would say
gonna be, Jesse?
FIFA 18. Wait, is this public or who's voting?
Yeah, it's just voting as far as I know.
Okay, so yeah, okay. Because there's some that the judges vote for, and then there's some that the people can vote for. If it's the people, I'm gonna say FIFA 18 because that's always like the #1 selling sports game.
It's my sports game. I love it.
I'm just gonna say outright that I don't really play any sports games. The best sports game is Mario Strikers.
I would say on this, Forza Motorsport 7 or FIFA 18 are going to win.
You think,
Yeah.
You know, you're probably right about FIFA.
Colin Gibbs about...
My vote would go to Mario Kart.
It's not on here.
It's not on there.
It's not on there, though.
FIFA 18.
It's gonna be
no
FIFA.
buts about it.
Alright. Next category. Best strategy game. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. So we have XCOM 2, Tooth and Tail, Total War, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Halo Wars 2. See, this is the thing. Mario and Rabbids copied the formula of XCOM. So,
Sorry for that.
is the real XCOM going to get it? Or is it going to be the Nintendo-themed XCOM? I would say Mario plus Rabbids because it's the only one of these games, aside from maybe Tooth and Tail, which I've never heard of, that would probably not just get adult gamers into the strategy type games, but kid gamers as well.
I am inclined to agree. It's exactly what you said. I was just gonna repeat basically what you just said. So.
All right. What about you, Lexi?
Ah. I'm sorry, this is happening way too much. I'm sorry. I'm getting surprised and confused at the same
Best
time.
strategy game.
Never played any of them,
Wow.
so I have no opinion.
All right, she's going to default to Mario.
Yeah.
We claim your vote.
All right.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Best family games. Well, this is the Nintendo category. If I ever saw one. And
Jesus.
Sega.
For the best game
And
appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre
Odyssey.
or platform. Oh wow. This isn't just the Nintendo. This is Mario. Like
This is pretty much. We got Splatoon 2, Sonic Mania, Mario and Rabbids, Mario Kart, and Mario Odyssey. But yeah, of those ones, Odyssey wins. I guarantee it.
wait.
I would
Family
honestly,
game.
Yeah, sure. Mario Odyssey. My 5-year-old
play
plays
double player.
Odyssey. He beat it. That's pretty impressive.
Okay.
So,
I would say Mario as well. Mario or Mario Kart. Odyssey or Kart.
actually,
One of
I
the
have
two.
to preface that my kid is weirdly really good at video games for a 5-year-old. So,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
like, no, this is not to say Mario Odyssey is like the easiest game ever. Like, he beat it, but like, he didn't unlock the dark side of the moon because he like basically got enough power moons to beat it. Whereas I'm playing it and I have like 600 power moons, and I'm at the same point of the game. So, like, what I love about it is it's like you can play it in different ways, like depending if you're a completionist or not, or you're just someone who wants to zip through the story.
Yeah.
The story in air quotes because it's Mario. But yeah, of these ones, Odyssey. It's gotta be Odyssey.
All right.
Yeah, I vote for Odyssey.
Next category. Best fighting game. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. Tekken 7, Nidhogg 2, Marvel vs. Capcom, ARMS, and Injustice 2. I would say
Injustice 2.
Mm-hmm.
my vote would,
No
my
doubt in my mind.
my vote would be for Injustice 2.
Alright. We are
unanimous.
I don't
we're
think
all on the same page.
many people would vote for ARMS.
I'm sorry. I liked ARMS. I was gonna say love. I didn't love it. I liked it.
There was a lot of complaints
But-
around Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So
Yeah.
like they took out all of the X-Men characters because so everyone complained about that, even though like Capcom released a statement saying that while they did remove some of the characters that people loved, which were some of the X-Men characters, they replaced them with characters that would fight the exact same. So all of the attacks, special moves would literally be the exact same as if it were an X-Men. They're just skinned to be a different character. So yeah, I don't know what I can still see why the complaints are there, but if it's like Hyrule Warriors, to where it's just a Dynasty Warriors game with Zelda characters. So that's kind of like what it is. They just replaced the character skins, but they still have similar attacks and everything. But anyways, best role-playing game. For the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. Divinity, Original Sin 2, Final Fantasy 15, South Park, The Fractured Butthole, Nier,
yeah.
Automata, and Persona 5. I want to say
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
I picked South Park.
What?
I'm sorry, but if you played it, it's actually outstanding. It's an outstanding game.
Okay, so
in
that's
my
your vote.
opinion.
But is that
Yeah.
the one you predict to win?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
I feel like the vast
still think-
majority is able to play that.
I was between that and Final Fantasy and Persona, but I'm going with
Okay,
Final
guys.
Fantasy.
Best action adventure game. Uncharted, Assassin's Creed, The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario, Horizon.
Okay, my inner fanboy is just leaping out Zelda. It's gotta be Breath of the Wild.
I chose Breath of the Wild.
I choose.
I couldn't exactly say Mario Odyssey is an adventure game because it's still pretty linear.
It's still an advent. I'd say it's adventure
know.
platform,
Yeah,
but
I'd say it fit in a platformer kind of way, but there's no category for it.
it's a Mario game.
I'd say
It's a game.
Breath of the Wild wins as well.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotta be Breath of the Wild.
All right. Best action game: Prey, Neo, Destiny 2, Cuphead, Wolfenstein 2. Action game.
Wolfenstein 2, in my opinion.
Is that an action game? It's like FPS. I don't know. Well, then again, you could say the same with Destiny. This is a hard category.
Destiny 2 or Wolfenstein?
That's what I was thinking as well. I gave Cuphead to Indie. I
would say Wolfenstein 2.
Wolfenstein. Okay, whoa, we're just thinking the same thing.
Wolfenstein 2 because people complained about loot crates in Destiny 2, but nobody's complained about Wolfenstein. So.
All right, best VR/AR game. Virtual reality or augmented reality.
Yeah.
Resident Evil, Farpoint, Lone Echo / Echo Arena, Star Trek, Bridge Crew, or Super Hot VR.
Resident Evil 7 Biohazard because it's the only game. Everything else here is more of an experience. Like Super Hot VR is not a game. It is like a 30-minute experience. The same with Star Trek. So the only one that I would call an actual game is Resident Evil 7.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
Best handheld. Oh, this is a good one. Fuji Yoshi's Woolly World, Monster Hunter Stories, Metroid Samus Returns, Ever Oasis, or Fire Emblem Shadows of Valencia. I'm gonna say Metroid. I love that game. I've said it every episode of this podcast. I loved Samus Returns.
Metroid wins it. Best mobile game: Fire Emblem Heroes, Super Mario Run, Old Man's Journey, Hidden Folks, Monument Valley 2.
I have a prejudice against mobile games, so I probably Fire Emblem Heroes.
I'm going with Mario. I'm going with Mario.
You know what? I got Mario Run, but I'm an Android user, and it was like months late, and the hype had died down, and I wasn't feeling it. I don't know. I got maybe to World 3, and that was it.
Nice.
Actually, Fire Emblem Heroes captivated me for even less time. But I know that there are people, I know people finished Mario Run and that was it.
Yeah.
I know people who are still, actively really playing Fire Emblem Heroes.
Alright. Best ongoing game: Warframe, Rainbow Six, Siege, Overwatch, Grand Theft Auto Online, Destiny 2, PlayerUnknown's Battleground.
Overwatch.
Awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time.
Ooh, I'm in between Rainbow Six and Overwatch.
Gotta be Overwatch.
No, the problem is if I choose now, there's gonna be a war because.
Okay.
That's gonna be a neck and neck situation.
I would say Overwatch or Grand Theft Auto Online, because Grand Theft Auto came out 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's true.
It did.
And people are still playing it religiously. So
Well, if we go by that logic, Team Fortress 2 is.
Oh my god. Yeah, where's that award?
Yeah. No, I might go still with Overwatch. I think that's the one that's gonna.
yeah, I would say Overwatch. All right.
I'm gonna play Rainbow Six to be a rebel.
Games.
Rebellion stage.
Games for impact. For a thought-provoking game with a profound pro-social meaning or message. Please Knock on My Door, Night in the Woods, Life is Strange Before the Storm, Hellblade. What Remains of Edith Finch, Bury Me, My Love. I'm going to go Hellblade.
I'm kind of mad Rhyme isn't in here.
I don't know about these ones. I'll just go with Hellblade as well. Because I'm not. This is a tough category to choose.
Well, what the heck is this? That was scary. All right. Do you have your guess or your vote?
No.
Uh-oh. Then we move on without you.
Yes, skip me. Gosh. Leave me behind to die.
Do you really not have one that you would pick?
Yeah, I really don't.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping, like, crossing my fingers for Rhyme to be in this, and I was, like, thoroughly disappointed because I was so moved by that story of Rhyme, and I was like, oh, no! Please.
I was moved by Rhyme's frame rate. Sorry.
Well then.
Best performance. Awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and or performance capture. Melina, Jargons, Hellblade, Laura Bailey, Uncharted The Lost Legacy, Claudia Black, Uncharted The Lost Legacy, Ashley Birch, Horizon Zero Dawn, Brian Bloom, Wolfenstein 2. I'm going to say Horizon Zero Dawn. Ashley Birch.
Yeah.
I am inclined to agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Alright.
Best audio design. Recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. Destiny 2, Hellblade, Resident Evil 7, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey.
I'd rather Odyssey.
If it were not for the next category, I would say Odyssey. But I'm actually going to go with Breath of the Wild.
What?
Yeah, well, like, Breath of the Wild, actually, if you get just your TV speakers, do not do the audio design in that game justice. If you play with really good headphones or with surround sound, it's a completely different experience with Breath of the Wild's sound design. It's actually incredible. You hear birds behind you. You have got the different sounds of just where you're walking. It's just, and it's not like a musical score that wins in this category for me. It's Breath of the Wild's just attention to detail with its sound design that, in my opinion, makes it win this category.
All right.
Yeah.
But only because this next category exists do I pick that.
I will say
Wow.
Breath of the
just
Wild
saw that.
because there was a thing where Aonuma and Miyamoto were talking that in this game, whenever you, like if you're walking, you don't just hear, like, the game isn't just registering, oh, he's walking, let's create footsteps. The sound comes from, like, the foot of Link or the NPCs when they touch the ground. That is what's causing the sound. It's not just, like, the game being like, oh, he's walking, let's play that sound. He's riding a horse, let's play a horse sound. It's like the actions in the game are actually causing the sounds.
You can notice it as soon as you step on a bridge, and then you go into grass, and then you step in water, and all of these different things. Yeah. It's like it's very fluid too.
All right, so best score and music. For outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, or licensed soundtrack. Destiny 2, Cuphead, Nier Automata, Persona 5, Super Mario Odyssey, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
I gotta say Odyssey.
Yeah.
Odyssey's soundtrack, like, because of this category, I gave sound design to Breath of the Wild. But as far as just music goes, Odyssey's music is phenomenal. It is an amazing soundtrack. And I'm not just talking about Jump Up Superstar. Like, go look up the Steam Gardens music from the Wooded Kingdom. I could just listen to that song, just like on its own. You know, there's so much music in that game that is just outstanding.
All right.
Absolutely.
With that said, I'm picking Breath of the Wild still.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild. You know what my favorite song from the Breath of the Wild soundtrack?
Cass?
The one in the Switch event trailer. And it's not even in the game, but the trailer music and like all the trailer music, it's like hardly in the game or not at all.
Oh, yeah.
And I was actually a little disappointed by that.
The main theme.
The main theme only appears during the final boss, and it's not even the same version of that song. And then in that Switch reveal event, they had that surprise trailer of Breath of the Wild at the very end, and the music from that trailer is super intense, super hype. It's amazing, and it's not in the game. Mario Odyssey, all the music from those trailers, that's music you listen to while you're playing, and it's all awesome.
What about you, Lexi?
Huh? This is happening way too much. I'm so sorry.
Which game has the best music?
Lexi?
Ugh, I am out of it today. For best score in music? Is that what we're at?
Yeah.
Yes.
I chose Odyssey. I chose Odyssey. I feel so poopy now.
Alright. Best art direction. Destiny 2, Cuphead, Breath of the Wild, Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn. Breath of the Wild gets it again from me.
I would say Breath of the Wild, but Cuphead is a close second. I like Cuphead's art direction.
I agree.
But Breath of the Wild, as we talked about earlier in the podcast and stuff, like it's gorgeous. I love it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Best narrative. We're about to end this. Soon we only have a couple more. So best narrative,
Wow.
What Remains of Edith Finch, Nier Automata, Hellblade, Son of Sacrifice, Wolfenstein 2, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Ooh, this is hard. I don't want to... I'm staying out of this one.
Can I opt out?
Yeah.
You know what? And I haven't played enough of any of these games to like really say. Like,
I would say Horizon.
Oh, yeah, I feel all the nuances of those narratives.
No, the first 10 minutes of Horizon, if you have a soft heart, will make you cry.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, because you play like, it starts out like, I guess her father figure in the game, and the character you play as is still a baby, and they are in a, like it's a tribe or a caste system to where, like some of them, if you're an outcast, no one's allowed to talk to you, and this baby was born an outcast, and this guy was given the duty to just take care of and raise the baby. But he tried like taking care of the baby in the same way you would take care of a normal baby instead of as an outcast. So he goes to like get the baby its name and everything, whatever crazy rituals they do in their tribes, and the people in the system find out and they make him an outcast as well. So then it skips to when the girl's like 5, 6, 7 years old, and there's a bunch of other kids in a field picking berries and other food, and the little kid goes up and grabs like a handful of berries to try to help the other kids, and one of the mothers of the kids just like tells her kid like, don't talk to her, get away, we don't talk to people like that. And then like the little girl gets like a really sad look on her face, and it's just like the saddest thing in the world, because I was thinking if someone treated my daughter like that, I would be on a rampage. I'd be like, no, you don't do that to kids. What are you doing? Because the little girl was just trying to help.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is too sad.
But anyways, that's why I say best narrative.
All right. Well, let's move to best game direction.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
What game studio for outstanding creative vision and innovative game direction? It's Wolfenstein, Resident Evil, Breath of the Wild. Mario,
I would say Breath of the
Odyssey, or
Wild,
Horizon.
because
agree,
once
Breath of the
you get
Wild.
off the Great Plateau, they're talking about game direction. This is one of the only games that I've ever played that you can literally go anywhere or do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I agree.
And you know, it's like a really new direction in the series itself as well, which some people don't like. But you know what? Like, I think Breath of the Wild begs this one.
I have
Game.
several reasons for it, though. I have like a list, but that's in the back of my head, and I'm freaking out too much because I'm crazy. Because I'm like, oh, we're at the game of the year, like 1 point.
All right.
We're like 1 away from it, so I'm voting for Breath of the Wild because, one, they have the largest maps to date in any game. They have an open world which is never seen before by the Zelda franchise. They have, it's like the direction is kind of wonky because you can make your own direction basically. It's a kind of make your own story situation, but also you're following the story at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it's an opinionated kind of game.
Yeah.
That's the way I kind of like. I'm saying, oh, that's a good direction to go for because people are already building off of that.
Yeah, like there's not a specific way that you have to get the memories. There's no specific direction to go to any of the shrines or divine beasts. There's no, like, you don't have to get certain items or weapons in a certain order. Once you get off the Great Plateau, you can do anything. You can skip all the memories.
For goodness sake.
You can. You can.
I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. That's the point.
Yeah, and like I was talking to my little brother earlier about we were going to do a live stream before I remembered the podcast, but we were going to stream Breath of the Wild. I was going to go and do the shrines, and he was like, "Well, why don't you do the dungeons?" And in my head, I was like, "Well, I want to get the Master Sword." Like, the way that I play the game is get the Master Sword, so do enough shrines to where you can get the sword, then do the divine beasts. But he plays it as just like go to like play it in the way, like whatever you get to, just do it. To where me, like, I'll get to Zora's Domain, but I won't do the divine beast until like several hours later.
See, but I would say I'm like a completionist. I'll go to one area and I'll do all the shrines and get everything in that area, including divine beast, and then I'll go to the next area, get all the shrines and Korok seeds I can find in that area, including the divine beast, and then move. You know what I mean? And then move. Yeah.
And this
throughout the game that way.
This is why Breath of the Wild gets the best direction.
I was lucky enough that when I found the Master Sword for the first time, like, totally didn't mean to find it actually. And
like, oh, what's this?
I had enough hearts to just pull it out, no problem.
Nice.
Barely. I got down to the quarter heart. I was like, oh no! And then he pulled it out. I was like, okay, we're okay.
All right. So finally, Game of the Year, recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. Players Unknown Battlegrounds should not be there at all because it is not even finished yet.
We're gonna get hate for this.
Horizon Zero Dawn is one of the best games on PlayStation 4, but it is essentially PlayStation's version of Breath of the Wild.
We're gonna get more hate for that.
Persona 5 is the best anime that you can play.
Get ready for the dislikes.
Super Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Odyssey is probably the best Mario game, but the best Mario game of all time is still not as good as Breath of the Wild.
I agree, Breath of the Wild, although, like, it's tough. Mario Odyssey is really good. I really love it. But Breath of the Wild, like, captured me in a way that I cannot describe. Like, months of just playing just that game, when normally I play, like, 2 or 3 games on and off at a time. I literally, like, I neglected so many things to play Breath of the Wild. I would just go home, work, like, at work, go home, play Breath of the Wild for, like, 4 hours, have dinner. And I just, like, couldn't put it down. I just couldn't stop. Like, yeah, that's my vote. Game of the Year.
What about you, Lexi?
I have 2 reasons why I'm voting for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And this is why. Because, 1, I personally enjoy the game very much so, even though I overplayed it and I got doled out of it, and I was like, let me give my console to my best friends and see if they want to play it. That's exactly what I did. But the second reason I voted for Breath of the Wild is because I have a little theory what happens when they win Game of the Year. We already know for a fact that Reggie is making an appearance to this event, as listed in the news from the website itself. I definitely feel like, once they win, they're going to show more about DLC Pack 2. That's just a little kind of hunch that I'm on about. Because when they get awarded something, they want to award the people who voted for them. So why not treat them to DLC Pack 2? Why not?
And I think we've discussed also in this episode and the last episode of our podcast that that's also we feel like Game Awards is a perfect time to show off for DLC. Too,
absolutely.
So.
It's their way of being like, hey, this game won Game of the Year, and here is even more.
Yeah. Like, trying to show that they're trying to expand a bit on it.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, I'm interested.
So that brings us to the very end of the Game Awards. So,
Sweet.
with
I
nominations
feel
and awards,
like our Zelda bias really showed through this,
Yeah.
this rundown.
with
of the Game Awards.
with the nominations and awards out of the way, what is one surprise, not award related, that you think's going to happen? Like that's not a Breath of the Wild trailer, but would be something similar. So a trailer for a new game, Metroid Prime 4 being shown off for the first time, more Kirby, something brand new from PlayStation, anything. What is
Please give me Yoshi.
a surprise that you expect? Not
I'm
Zelda
gonna get
related
ready
at the
to
Game
anger
Awards.
the chat a bit. Smash for Nintendo Switch.
Smash for Nintendo Switch? You
You
think
know,
they would
that's
show
not a
that
bad
at the
idea.
Game Awards?
No, I don't at all. But I'm hoping.
I would
I need it.
I would say Yoshi. I would say we'll get something
Yeah,
Yoshi related.
I love Yoshi.
maybe.
I want more Yoshi.
Or Odyssey DLC.
Oh.
Ooh.
So would you want a
That's
new
interesting.
kingdom, or would you like that would be cool? Like that's more kingdoms, or don't just add like 20 more power moons to each kingdom. Like don't do that. I would love new areas if we did Mario Odyssey DLC.
Oh.
Or surprise twist.
The Fanatic.
The Wild DLC pack 3 and 4.
Yeah. See,
Wow.
the Fanatic G in the chat says, what if they announce Game of the Year edition? So
Oh, that would be
Breath of the
interesting.
Wild Game of the Year edition, to where it comes with the DLC.
That would be cool. Comes
Isn't
with
that
all
the-
DLC and updates packed in
Isn't that the Explorers edition though?
No, the Explorers edition just comes with the book
with the book.
I thought it came
and
with
new
the
artwork.
DLC.
No, sadly.
So, for some reason.
That's
So
all.
if they were gonna do a release that included the DLC, Game of the Year edition, yeah.
I
that makes
agree.
All right. I guess that brings
Cool.
us to the end of our little prediction. So, Lexi,
True. Ah,
for those watching that may not know who you are, who are you, and why should we care about you?
hi. Hi,
Hi.
I'm Lexi from the Chamber of Sages, and I'm a meme.
A living.
You are the meme.
I am the meme, and you can find me on Twitter at the Chamber of Sages because I help manage that, and you can also find me at Chamber Lexi because I exist. Yeah,
Great.
that's a thing. Yeah.
All right.
Great.
Daniel, how about yourself?
I'm Daniel. You can find me right here on this channel that you're watching this video on, or Twitter at CaptBurgerson. Capt C-A-P-T Burgerson. Like I ate a burger as a child. And I do videos for mostly Game Over Jesse. I work with him. I did a little bit of Chamber of Sages. I did Zelda Informer back in the day, Nintendo Prime a little bit, on and off. And I mostly do stuff here. I also have my own channel, NSHG Films, on YouTube. And yeah, just tweet me, and I will send you a high five emoji. Tweet me in the next 24 hours.
All right.
Tweet me and I'll send you a sad Zelda.
No.
Well, thank you, Lexi.
Look what you did.
Thank you, Lexi, for joining on the predictions video and the podcast that we did
Oh,
earlier.
it's a pleasure.
Daniel, thank you for giving your time to co-host the podcast once again, and the
Oh.
extra 40 minutes it took to do this predictions.
Jesse, thank you for coming to co-host the podcast with me. And for having me on your
All right.
predictions video.
And
Thanks for
bye.
letting me exist.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Goodbye.
guys.